Hey guys, it's Bobby Legs, and welcome to another episode of Bobby Legs Loves Watches. Last week I had made a video about the 5 reasons why I would not be buying a Rolex in 2020, and I got a lot of feedback in the comments where people um, believed that it was a good time to buy a Rolex, especially a pre-owned Rolex now. And I do not disagree. That video was mainly my reasoning for me not buying a Rolex in 2020. But it still got me thinking, is it really a really good time to buy a Rolex pre-owned? Um, at this moment in time, there is a health crisis that is sweeping the world, and markets in all across the world have been tanking. Here in the States, our stock market has dropped about close to 30% in a month. And it's caused a lot of fear, not only fear of this health crisis, but economic fear. And I see that now reflected somewhat in prices for pre-owned watches, including some Rolex. So let's drill it down a little bit further. Let's get more specific and talk about the Rolex Submariner. This is a watch that I have been opining for a really long time. Back in 2007, I had a near miss where I almost bought one, was kind of talked out of it by a salesman, and regretted it ever since. So I'm going to put up some information here, and I want to explain, why I have this up here. So I think of commodities or stocks and whatnot. I think of how things appreciate over time. In most cases, some items like a car will depreciate in time, with a few rare exceptions. And the same is true with watches. Now, watches, the discussion about watches being something of an investment, that we will table for another day. This is not really about that. I'm just going to show you how I look at things and analyze. So back in 2008, and by the way, I got this information from Unwound, the MSRP for a Rolex Submariner No Date, the watch that I was very much interested in, model 14060. The MSRP was 5450, $5,450 American. I got this from an article from Unwound, which is the blog for Crown and Caliber, I believe. And so I looked on Crown and Caliber and wanted to see what they're selling that watch today. Now that watch, they're selling around the $7,300 mark as of Monday, March 16th, and there's a few of them there. Now I know that within the last year, I've seen this watch priced much higher. Now, this watch does not have box and papers, but even without box and papers, I know I was seeing Rolex Submariners priced over $8,000. So the price has come down, and partly due probably because of what's going on in the world today. So looking how it has appreciated from 2008 all the way to now, and kind of how it has taken a little bit of a dive, this may be a really good opportunity to buy this watch. Now, in stocks, or in real estate, it's very hard to predict the bottom. We usually don't know when the bottom happens until 6 months to a year after the bottom has occurred. Maybe the same case could be made for watches here. The luxury of with stocks that you have, though, in not in predicting the bottom or trying to figure out when the bottom is. First of all, if you know anything, you know that you cannot predict the bottom. But at least when you feel like you're bottoming it out, you could start buying stock on the way down and lower your cost average. You can't do that with watches, right? You just buy one watch. So if you do not see the watch as an investment, which is very, very important here, but you feel like you're close to maybe a bottom of pricing, whether you get it for $7,300 or whether you get it for $7,000 or whether you get it for $7,500, if you're a watch enthusiast and you love this watch, it shouldn't matter to you. So I have another reason why I picked the 2008 um, Rolex Submariner for this exercise, and that's because in 2008 there was also the Great Recession, 2007, 2008 to 2009. And I wanted to discuss how I kind of look at things. I wrestle what to do with discretionary cash. After I pay all the bills, contribute to the retirement, put away for preschool, pay the mortgage, etc. Whatever little extra cash I like to put on the side. Ideally to encourage or to buy another watch for this hobby or do something hobby related. But I wrestle, with the fact that, should I really take that money and sock it away or invest that money, looking towards the future, looking towards to what retirement may look like, because we don't know. There's many things that we don't know. We don't know if Social Security will be there or what the world's going to be like, inflation and whatnot. So there's part of me that's always worried about that, and I try to weigh the options. Is that more important than the immediate gratification of buying a new watch? So let me share how I look at it. Right. So right here is a little graphic here of the SPY, the Spider S&P 500 ETF. This is an ETF that reflects the S&P 500. It is probably the biggest ETF in the world. Several hundred billion is invested in it. So back in January 2nd of 2008, the price of that ETF, it closed at $144.93 a share. As of yesterday at its closing, now it closed at $239.41. A month ago, it was up to like 330, 340, right? But it closed yesterday at $239.41. That's a return of approximately 65%. Now going back to our Rolex example, if I had bought a new Rolex in 2008 for 5450 and sold it for 7300, whatever Crown and Caliber has that price for whatever it's set there on their website. Now look, I get it, some people may be able to find it for cheaper or whatnot, but I'm just or less money, but I'm just going by what's on their site, right, as an example. Now you're looking at a return far less. You're looking at a return, if I remember from my notes correctly, in the 34-35% range. So if I had taken that 5450 and bought shares of this SPY ETF and sold out of them yesterday, I would have had enough to buy that Submariner today for $7,300 and have around $1,600 left over. Now that's one way to look at it, and it's hindsight, and hindsight is 2020, and it could have been easily that the market didn't perform that well. I get it, and I'm not trying to make this argument really, really simple. It's either this way or that way, but there's just other ways to look at it. Now, going back to what I in the beginning of my video, talking about how we shouldn't look at watches as an investment, and I totally believe in that. But because this watch has appreciated over time, we kind of still have to look like it. It was an investment for somebody, right? Somebody bought it for $54.50 and sold it to Crown and Caliber probably for far less than $7,300, but probably paid it for a profit, and it turns out to be some sort of investment for them, right? They got a rate of return. So I don't know, guys. This is kind of like the way I think about things, and try to gauge whether it's worth it for me to go and purchase something of this magnitude. Now, wrapping up, do I think it's a good time to buy a pre-owned Rolex? For example, this Rolex Submariner. I think it actually is. Like I said, we don't know what the bottom's going to be, but I feel like we're very, very close to it. If you feel like you're very, very close to it, and you've been wanting this watch, and you have the funds, and you're not gonna, take away from paying the mortgage or keeping food away from the table from your kids, then by all means do it if you have the means. Anyway, guys, I would love to hear what you think about this. I'm sorry if my ideas are kind of a little convoluted. I try to wrap them up and simplify them as much as I could. So I hope you get it, or get what I was trying to say. Again, please leave some comments below. Let me know what you think. Do you think it's a good time to buy? Does my logic make any sense to anybody out there? I would love to know, and I'll see you in the next video.